Hare Krishna, welcome, 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 everybody. We are here to study Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, deep dive into first canto, second chapter, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We're memorizing the entire chapter. And Navneet, she's up in the snowy mountains of the Himalayas, Himachal Pradesh, and she had this question: why don't we listen to Mayavadi? So first of all, what is Mayavadi? Vadi is Vada. Vada Pravadantamaham. Vada means like your stance, your philosophy. Like Krishna says, of all kinds of arguments or debates, Vada Pravadantamaham, that debate that's based on a mutual, and where both parties simply want to know what is tattva. They both want to know what is truth. That is the best form of discussion and debate. So Mayavada is the philosophy that everything is Maya. Jagad Mithya, everything is false. Everything is not real. It's not just an illusion. It just doesn't exist. And even that state of non-existence is very ambiguous. It's anirvachaniya. It is something it cannot be said to not exist. It cannot be said to be exist. It basically cannot be clearly identified in any kind of way. So why are the Vaishnavas not interested in hearing from the Mayavada philosophers or Mayavadis? Well, you have basically two different types of schools of, not schools, but two different impersonals. You have what is called the Brahmavada. Brahmavadi is someone who he has an attraction, as we will hear in today's verse. He has an attraction to the non-personal side of God, the understanding the oneness of everything, or also you could say the Vishvatamaka, the universal, the Lord's, this all over, everywhere, faces are everywhere. So you see this kind of universal aspect, either impersonal or maybe semi-personal in the form of like a universal being. And the Mayavada will say that not only they have attraction, but it's a hard stance that any kind of conception of God as a person is simply illusion. But the Mayavadis will say, yes, engage in bhakti. They'll engage in some kind of loving relationship with God. But the end result is, when you get liberated, you throw that relationship away because God doesn't exist. This conception of I'm God, you're God, and there is no supreme being, there is no personality. It is all just oneness. And so the Mayavadis make this, what is called aparad, they make this error and offense of denying the personal existence of God. It's like saying hot sunlight comes out of a cold sun. It's illogical. Saying that personality, form, all these things that are the most objective thing we can see, the most objective thing we can experience. Like we could be literally in a matrix, an entire illusion. Vishvatamaka Prabhu is driving somewhere, but he might just be a robot battery that he's just sitting in the matrix. Well, the one thing he does know is that I exist. What is the cognito ergo sum? I think, therefore I am. I'm conscious, therefore I exist. So the one thing we know is that there is a person, there is the drashta, the perceiver, and that perceiver is a perceiver of consciousness. It is a being. So to say that the supreme is lacking this beingness, this personhood, intelligence, humor, relationship, form, all the things that I possess, that the source of it lacks of it is kind of, it's pretty much like saying there's this source of hot sunlight, hot, bright sunlight is actually a very dark and cold, body. So we understand that If it's present in the effect, it's present in the source. We understand that if it's present in the effect, it's present in the cause. Janmarari yasya yataha. This is the first verse of Bhagavatam. First verse of Vedanta Sutra. After the invocation, you have that first verse. That which he from whom everything emanates. That which from everything emanates. And so, because of this offense, it distances the person from Krishna. Aparada. Radha is Krishna's internal energy. So one rendition of this word aparada. Apa means against. So it's going against Radha. It's going against that mercy of Krishna. Does that make sense? Avanit?
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, I got the point. So means if it's like they are known as also Gyanis. So
Yeah.
if they are Gyanis means it means they have Gyani means a person who have knowledge.
Now most you'll find nowadays are not Brahmavadis. They're usually Mayavadis. They usually make that offense of saying that there is no God. You know the only way to perceive everything is its only oneness. Now you had these Brahmavadis, the four Kumaras, Shukadeva Goswami himself. He was a Brahmavadi. All these personalities, they were not considered offensive, yet were not bhaktas. They're not considered offensive. They just had an interest and attraction to the impersonal side. So you have the Brahmavadi, the Jnani. He is perceiving God without Shaktis. This is just God without Shaktis. That everything is just God. As we find in the previous word, Advaya Jnanam. Advaya. Vedanti tattvavidas tattvajnanam advayam. So advaya means no dual. So this one thing, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, is known by three names. It's as Prabhupada explains, it's not that we're understanding three things. We're actually understanding one thing in three successive stages of realization. Sometimes we give the analogy of the sunlight, the sun globe, and the sun god. But more fitting is like the example Prabhupada gave of the train seen from far away. It first seems like just like a bright light, and then you get closer, you see the cars, and you get closer, you see the train conductor, or the mountain. It's just one thing that's understood in three successive stages of realization. So in this verse, it does talk about the Jnanis, not the Mayavadis, but the Jnanis, and how you in all the stages of realization, to realize Brahman, you still need a little tinge of bhakti. To realize Paramatma, you still need a little tinge of bhakti. And of course, to realize Bhagavan, Bhaktyamam Abhijananti, to know Krishna, he says you must, it's through bhakti, through devotion. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. All right. Welcome, Carmen and Dana K. Hare Krishna, welcome. And of course, Vishwato Makaprabhu, welcome.
Hare Krishna.
So today we are covering the verse right after Shukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami has explained these three stages of realization. So should we just do a little Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, let's do, should we do a really quick rundown of the verses covered? What do you say?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the first 5 verses, we've used the acronym DIVINE, and so the D is for dignified. So it's the questions are being glorified, the questioners are being glorified. Shukadeva Goswami, the Guru Sutta Goswami is being glorified. Narayan Rishi, both Nara and Narayan Rishi are being glorified. Divine Divya Sarasvati is being glorified. Narayan, Lord Vishnu, is being glorified. It's a whole section of dignifying. Vyasuvacha iti samprashna samhrishto vipranamra maharshanai pratipujas pratastejam pravaktum apachakrame sutta vacha yam pravajantam anupetam apeta krityam tvaipayano virakattara ajjuha paputreti tanmayataya taravobine dustasarva bhuta hidayam unam anatosmi yasvanubhavam akilam shutasaramekam adhyatmadipam atitirtatishamtamandam samsarinam purnayaha paranakutyam tam vyasa sunamupayami guru muninam Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devam sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudire Muneya saruprishtoham bhavadbir lokamangalam yatkita krishna samprashno yenatma suprasediti savaipum samparo dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki pratihata yayatma suprasedati. So in this section, it's is the I is for inquiries answered. So this is Vasudevi Bhagavati. These two verses, Savaipumsam and Vasudevi Bhagavati, are the direct answers for questions that was asked in the previous chapter, first chapter Bhagavatam. What is the essence of all religious knowledge, spiritual knowledge? What is the what actually brings complete satisfaction of the self? And continue on. Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Charyada Haitukam. So that's D, I. D is for dignify, I is for inquiries answered. So there's the first two letters of the acronym describing the flow of the conversation. And then those inquiries which we're into, what is of real value? What is the actual of value? So the next section is valuable. What is valuable? And so those same questions are elaborated even further. So that should be verse, okay, we did 6, 7, and 8 is Dharma Swanushtita Pumsa Vikshvakshena Katasayat Notpadiyat Yadiratim Shama Eva Hi Kevalam Dharmasya Yapavargasya Narto Artayo Pakalpate Nartasya Dharmakantasya Kamalabaya Hismitaha Kamasya Nidire Pitir Lavo Jivita Yavata Jivasya Tatva Jigyasa Tatva Yarto Tatva Narto Yasche Tatva Narto Yasche Karma Bihi Vatanti Tatva Vidas Tatva Yajgyanam Advayam Prameti Parameti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabjate. So these so Krishna is saying, or Sutta Goswami is explaining that Dharma is not for financial, you're not supposed to practice your religious, spiritual duties to get financially well situated, nor is it for just gratification of the senses and material desires. And the material desires, what you should really desire is just to have a healthy life. That's what is important, because this human life is for tattva jigyasa, for self-realization, and no other desire is really necessary. Just that's the only thing you really need, is just to have a healthy life. Then he begins to explain, okay, what is a self-realization? And the learned transcendentalists have explained that this non-dual substance, this one thing, is referred to by 3 different levels: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These are the realization of God without Shaktis, just the one thing. And then Paramatma, I believe it's Jiva Goswami explains it this way. Paramatma realization is God with material Shaktis. Because Paramatma is the Lord. There are 3 Paramatmas. There's the Lord in the heart of all creatures. There's the Lord who resides as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu within the universe. And then there's the Lord who he's so large that universes come out of his pores. So there's the three Paramatmas, three Purushas, three Pumshams. And all of those lords have something to do with matter. They have something to do with this world. And so that realization is God with material Shaktis. And then the Bhagavan realization is God with spiritual Shaktis. Srimati Radharani. There's a spiritual world. There's spiritual relationships. The eternal loving interactions that go on in the spiritual world. The whole loving play that is there. And what is the process to understand those three stages is described in this verse. So open it up. Let me zoom a little bit. Okay, let me see. Don't crash on me. Let's close some tabs here. I want to share the screen. Tat Shadadana Munayo Janavairagya Yuktaya Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhakta Shuta Grihitaya. So this is the seriously inquisitive students are sage. So Shraddha. Shraddha means faith. It means interest. It means eagerness. It is like a, here, I'll stop sharing for a second. Just like a, Dana K, have you been to New York City before?
No, I have not.
You haven't been to New York City. So say you are come to New York City and you want to go to Rath Yatra. And you are at the Bhakti Center. And you're trying to figure out, how can I get to where the parade starts? You know, it's somewhere on 5th Avenue. So maybe that's a 5 train, big 5 train. I can't remember which one it would be nearby. Maybe the 5 train. So you want to go to Rath Yatra, and so you go to mta.org, or is it .info? mta.info, the Metro Transit Authority. And because you have not only heard, but you have witnessed, you have seen that people have achieved some kind of success, that they've actually got places using the information of this thing called the MTA, this organization. And because of that, you have a little bit of trust, a little bit of faith. This is you haven't experienced it yet, but you saw, okay, the people use this stuff on a regular basis, and it seems to work. People aren't saying that I got on the 5 train and I ended up in Delaware. Or I got on the 5 train and it didn't take me, the subway didn't actually take me where it said it was on the map. No, pretty much everybody says, yeah, that maybe the train gets delayed or things like that, but the trains go to where they say they go on the map. And so because you have that little shraddha, that little eagerness, that little interest, that little faith, you actually go on a train, get on the train. And as you're on the train, as like if you're on the 5 train, you will see that there's, not only is there a map on the train, there's even like little dots that show you what's the next stop, the next stop, the next stop. And you know where you want to go. You have an idea, okay, I want to go to 5th Avenue, somewhere on like 59th Street or so, to get on near the beginning of the parade. And so you know where you want to go, and you see, okay, this train is actually going to the locations that it says it's going to go. People are getting off. It says, they get off 42nd Street, Grand Central Station. And you see that they're getting off there. You can even see when you get out, when the doors open, it says 42nd Street, Grand Central. And so because of that, your faith is increasing, not only to the point of just faith, but actual vigyan, means you're experiencing it. It's something that becomes nishta, becomes actually fixed in your heart, that yeah, no, this is real, this works. So it all starts off with a little bit of willingness to participate. That is called shraddha, faith. And it doesn't mean blind faith. Prabhupada describes in the purport, but blind faith and absurd inquiries of text chapter 4, text 34. What is that verse? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnana jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. So you have two things. You have what is called blind faith, and you have another side is blind doubt. Prabhupada calls that absurd inquiries. Blind faith is to be rejected, and blind doubt is to be rejected. What is blind faith? You have an answer. I know what is true, but you don't want any questions. You don't want to address valid doubts, even very core or very fundamental doubts. And then what is blind doubt? Blind faith is what? Carmen, what is blind faith?
I know the truth.
I have an answer.
Oh, I have, yeah. Sorry.
Don't give me questions. I have an answer. Don't give me questions. That's blind faith. What is blind doubt? I have questions. Don't give me an answer. I'm not interested in the answer. I just have absurd inquiries. Blind doubt. I'm not asking a question for the purpose of receiving an answer. I'm not interested in an answer. I don't want there to be a God. I don't want the answer. So I just have questions, but I don't have an answer. Blind faith is what? Carmen? Or Dana K? Again? Who's going?
Questions, and I have the answers.
Wait, which one is blind faith?
Having the answers.
Having the answer. And I don't want any questions. And what is blind doubt?
I don't want the answers.
I have questions, but I don't want the answers. Okay. All right. So that is not what we're talking about when we talk about shraddha. Shraddha just means this willingness to investigate, willingness to participate, willingness to apply an experiment, a system. Just like if someone says, okay, you mix these two chemicals and this is the result. It's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to. I don't want to do that. I don't believe it. So, well, I can explain to you. I can show you logically why this could take place. I can give you the chemistry formula. I did good in math and physics. Chemistry was not my thing, but someone could explain scientifically through some type of chemical formula why this kind of result would take place, mixing this chemical with that chemical, that this result takes place, or this new form of chemical is what is that dihydrogen oxide. It's a dangerous chemical that millions of people die from, aka water. So you can make sure you mix two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, you get water. So that's it. But someone says, I don't want to do that. I don't want to participate. That means they don't have shraddha. They don't have that. They're not willing to participate. So you can explain a very logical hypothesis. Then they may be brought to the level of experimentation, and then experimentation, you should get a result. So we go back. Tat shadana Munayo. Let's go back to the Touch Shadanana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhakta Shuddha Grihitaya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Sutri. So one point is that bhakti should be according to Shruta. Shruta means Vedic knowledge. If it is not coming from an authorized system, then all kinds of human mundane elements might be mixed in. You know, just like we discussed this before, if we want to learn something out of this world, then the information has to come from out of this world. We want to know what's happening in Japan, in El Paso, then we got to get a line in from Japan to El Paso. We can't just sit and guess. And so there's this verse, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharacha Vidindina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. Devotional service that ignores these shrutis, smritis, these ancient, this knowledge that's coming from outside of this world, the Narada Pancharatra, is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. So one example is during the time of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the word Vaishnava was practically synonymous with like a rogue or some kind of embarrassing figure. It was the word Vaishnava was, synonymous with all kinds of spiritual charlatans, especially in West Bengal. From the time of Lord Chaitanya's appearance to the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, during that later two generations, things started to degrade, and people started to put on a show of bhakti mixed in with all kinds of material nonsense. Like, for example, somebody would dress himself as Krishna. He would leave his home, he would leave his wife, and he becomes some kind of sort of sadhu. And then he would dress up like Krishna, and he would try to get ladies to sleep with him and say, hey, I'm Krishna, and we'll have some romantic pastimes. And this is called, he would put peacock feather. This is Dharvavesh, or not Dharvavesh, I think. Dharvavesh, I can't remember. There was all kinds of different groups. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually he identified, I believe it was the number 13 different balls, all those balls. Basically, people who took the very serious practice of bhakti and cheapened it and made it prakrita, made it materialistic, or made it sahaja, too easy, where a person could just pretend to cry, pretend to manifest these loving exhibition that was seen by Lord Chaitanya, and with the purpose of receiving great respect and reverence from the public. One time, one gentleman was in the temple room at the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, and he started rolling on the floor and crying and screaming, making a whole big commotion. And people were wondering, is he some great sadhu? Is he experiencing great ecstasy? And they asked Srila Prabhupada what they should do. Srila Prabhupada said, get a stick. Go and swing the stick at him. Go chase him with the stick. And when As soon as they came with the stick, the man jumped up and started screaming and yelling. You're like, what are you doing? But if he was really at that level where he's totally so disconnected in this world that he's fully immersed and experiencing such strong, loving separation from the Supreme Lord that he is, crying incessantly. Such a person, you could beat him with a stick, you could do anything to them, and it would not affect them, because that's a very high level of realization. But people would imitate these levels of realization for the purpose of receiving adoration, distinction, some kind of honor and prestige. And so therefore it should be done with the Shuddha, should be according to the sacred tradition, sacred literature. And so Tatshadana Munaya Gyanarayiragya Guptaya. So they become equipped with knowledge and detachment. And they begin to see the Pashantya Atmani Chatmanam. So the seriously inquisitive sage, so student or sage, so that's the Tatshadana Munaya, that sage who has Shraddha. That's that person who has actual willingness to participate. He realizes the absolute truth, but how does he do it? By bhakti, bhaktya. He does it by devotional service. All three stages need this element of devotional service, and thus he becomes equipped with knowledge and detachment. The earlier stages, this may be actually the method, one of the primary methods, knowledge and detachment for jnana and vairagya. But for those who are seeking Bhagavan realization, they mainly focus. They may be an initial element of jnana and vairagya just to be a little bit well situated, or they just engage directly in bhakti, and then jnana and vairagya, knowledge and detachment, comes as a byproduct, as we heard in what is that verse? I think verse 9 or so. Oh, verse 8. Verse 8? No, verse 7. Verse 7. So we can read the purport. The absolute truth is realized in full by the process of devotional service up to the Lord, Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, who is the full-fledged absolute truth. Brahman is his transcendental bodily effulgence, and Paramatma is his partial representation. As such, Brahman or Paramatma realization is but a partial realization. There are 4 different types of human beings: karmis, jnanis, yogis, and the devotees. So karmis are those who are interested in karma, material rewards. And then the other 3 are 3 levels of 3 classes of spiritualists. The karmis are materialistic. And generally the word karmi means actually a very pious person who's performing materialistic rituals to achieve material gain. Whereas the other 3 are transcendental. The first class transcendentalists are the devotees who have realized the Supreme Person. The second class are those who partially realize the plenary portion of the Absolute Person. So they're realizing the expansion of the Lord in this form of Paramatma. And the third class transcendentalists are those who barely realize the spiritual focus of the Absolute Person. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature, the Supreme Person is realized by devotional service. So that he's quoting in the 18th chapter, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati, which is backed by full knowledge and detachment from material association. So Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya. As we already discussed the point that devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment from material association. As Brahman and Paramatma realizations are imperfect realizations of the Absolute Truth, so the means of realizing Brahman and Paramatma, the path of jnana and yoga, are also imperfect means of realizing the Absolute Truth. Devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge, combined with attachment from material association, and which is fixed by the oral reception of Vedanta Srutri, is the only perfect path by which the seriously inquisitive student can realize the absolute truth. So you need some access to knowledge beyond this world, and the Vedas, all these Bhagavatam, all these literatures are saying that love, the path of devotion, is the perfect path. It is actually, and it's not a practice to get to something. Like, you give up your practice of jnana when you achieve the goal. Similarly, you give up your practice of Ashtanga yoga when you achieve full realization. These are things that are like instrumental, and then they are tossed aside when you achieve, like say you have a fire and you have wood. The fire is compared to jnana, and the wood is compared to ignorance. Ajnana. So when you burn away your misconception of life with the fire of knowledge, when it's all burnt away, then the fire ceases to exist. This is described in the 11th canto. This is specifically knowing oneself to be different from the body. Now, in the spiritual world, nobody needs to have this instrument of knowing oneself to be different from the body, because nobody has a material body, and so there is no need of this instrument to apply to ignorance, fire to be applied to the wood. There's no need of it. So when the wood is burnt up, the fire is gone. So you give up the path when you're done with it. But with bhakti, the actual means, devotional service, is the goal. Devotional service. Why do we serve Krishna with love? Because the goal is that's what we are. We are lovers of God. We are lovers of Krishna. So jnana and yoga, these are instruments. What does the Krishna say in the last verse of the 6th chapter? Yogi namapi sarvesham madkatendra atmana sharavan bhajate yomam same yuktamo mataha. The highest yogi is one who is having devotion unto me. And what does he say about the jnani? He says, Jnanavan mam prapadyante, bahunam janmanamante, jnanavan mam prapadyante, vasudevam sarvamiti, samahatma sudirlabhaha. After many, many lifetimes of doing this jnana, one finally surrenders unto me. So the end of jnana is bhakti, the end of yoga is bhakti, even the end of karma is bhakti. So all these, but bhakti is considered the complete, because you're actually acting as a soul. You're not practicing to get yourself suitable to practice spiritual life. You're acting in your actual spiritual capacity, your actual nature. You're not conditional nature, but your constitutional nature. So here it is. Devotional service is not, therefore, meant for the less intelligent class of transcendentalists. So this is what the certain jnanis or mayavadis may say. They say, oh, bhakti, you do a little bit of jnana, you go and worship Krishna, you do a little puja. That's just to engage your mind, your not your heart. It's not something about his actual self, but just the external emotional side. Where in the Bhakti Sastras, it's understood that we're engaging the self itself, not just this emotional side of the body, the psychophysical part of the body. There are 3 classes of devotees, namely first, second, and third class. Third class devotees are the neophytes, have no knowledge, and are not detached from material association. But those who are simply attracted by the preliminary process of worshiping the deity in the temple are called material devotees. So these are the third classes. The third class is somebody who only sees, oh, it's like, get out of the way. It's just me and God. Everybody else get out of the way. Me and the deity, me and my guru. And that's it. We don't have actual attachment, affection, and appreciation for the servants of God. Material devotees are more attached to material benefit than transcendental profit. This is also, there are three other classes, a different kind of categorization. Sanishta, Parinishta, Nirapiksha, described by Baladevi Vibhushan in his Gita Bhushana, and also in his description of his Bhashya, his commentary in Vedanta called Govinda Bhashya. And so there's Sanishta, Parinishta, and Nirapiksha. Sanishta are those devotees who are very much attached to material enjoyment. And eventually, the highest of such Sanishta devotees are the demigods. Welcome, Karuna Ji. Welcome, Karuna. Hare Krishna. So one has to make definite progress from the position of material devotional service to the second class devotional position. The second class position, the devotees can see four principles in devotional life. So what are the four principles? They see God. They see his devotees. They see those who are innocent or ignorant, who are in a position of perhaps being able to accept the path of devotion, and those who are antagonistic, those who are envious. So he serves God, his affection to the devotees. He tries to educate or help the innocent, and those who are antagonistic, leaves them alone. Will only increase their antagonism. One has to raise himself to at least the stage of second class, and thus become eligible to know the absolute truth. Okay. Let me stop here and see if there are some reflections, some questions. Dana K, what's your reflection? What can you take home today?
I really liked the discussion about the devotional service is the goal, and then when we're doing that, that's our real soul's like constitution, like the real soul working instead of like our material or outside.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. So I found that really interesting, all of that. Thank you.
And Ms. Carmen, give us a takeaway.
I like how basically anything you do can lead you closer to Krishna, like lead you closer to the goal. And I like how with every step, somehow Krishna provides like some sort of like guidance. He provides the intelligence. Whether it's like from a realization or the devotees, it's really sweet. And I kind of see it like a platform. So because Krishna will never let you go, the devotees won't let you go, and it's like this cycle. So you're always gonna be somewhat on that platform.
Nice. And it just takes a little willingness, a little eagerness. Now, Srila Prabhupada, lecturing on this verse, describes a very cool story. Karuna, do you know the story of the jewelry thief and Krishna? Do you know? So there was, we got another fellow. Pedro, welcome. Oh, he's got his guns raised. Welcome, Pedro. Hare Krishna. So there was this thief, and he heard about some kid that named Krishna that just was covered in jewels. And he was like, man, I gotta find this kid. If I rob this kid, then I'm set. And so he just heard people talking about this guy named Krishna, and that he had like a pearl necklace, And then he had this gem called the Kastuba gem. And he had, he has like these shark-shaped earrings. And he had all these like wonderful jewelry. And so he heard all about this. Welcome, Professor. Welcome. Well, I think we have I don't know if we have a spam or not. Let's see. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people coming in. Let's see. All right, we'll see. So they wanted he wanted to rob Krishna. And so he went to Vrindavan, and he was just running around going, where is this Krishna? Where is this Krishna? And he was looking, where is this Krishna? Where is this Krishna? And he was so
Fuck you.
Oh, this is a spammer.
Fuck you.
Little children.
Fuck you.
Dana K, I gonna fuck you. Dana, I gonna
Hare
fuck you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Fuck, man.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna
Shut up.
Krishna,
Shut the
Hare
fuck up, bitch.
Hare.
Yo quiero que te baile.
Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Quiero casarte, voy a
Hare
coger la...
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Okay. All right. Karuna, is this the real Karuna? Let's see. Which Karuna is this?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. So they try to steal your identity. So just like this, the Mayavadis are trying to steal Krishna's position. They're trying, like Putana. What was Putana's goal? Putana was deciding that I will come into Vrindavan. When she appeared to want to practice devotion, she appeared to want to offer something to Krishna, but her intention was to kill Krishna, to get rid of Krishna, to take his identity, to take his position. So similarly, oftentimes those who are coming from the Mayavada philosophy, they'll say that devotional service is for the less intelligent. Or you practice devotional service, but what's the purpose? Just like Putana, she was doing something devotional, but what's the purpose? To become God. So there's this envy that is there, and there's this. So what were we talking before we had our wonderful spammers? Who can remind me? Dana K, any remember?
The last thing I remember you talking about is the Kastuba gem, and then
Kastuba gem. Yes. Oh, the thief. So yeah, sorry. So the thief, he was so eager to rob this boy named Krishna. And he was so eager that Krishna actually appeared to him. Krishna appeared to him, and he saw Krishna. And when Krishna appears, he's very mysterious. Like you can't necessarily identify that this is God. You can't necessarily identify that this is the Supreme Person when he appears. And so because he's very mysterious and he has a power that Yoga Maya Samavrita, he's covered by Maya. So he can't just be discovered so easily. And so he's asking, can I have your necklace, your jewels? And Krishna's like, nah, my mother will get upset, if I give, my mom gave me this, and if I just give it away, she'll get upset. And he kept on asking, but eventually he just fell in love with Krishna. And so in the same way, if we have that utsaha nishchaya darya, that enthusiasm, then we get this reciprocation with the Supreme Person, Sri Krishna. Karuna, you have any takeaways?
No.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's look at the verse and we'll practice it. Touch Shadana Munayo. Touch Shadadhana Munayo. So everyone can repeat that. Touch Shadadhana Munayo. Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya. Touch Shadana Munayo. Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya. Kruna, can you say the first line? Kruna ji?
How many times?
As many times as you like.
What?
As many times as you like.
Okay. Which line?
As much as you like. Just give all of us. Give all the lines.
Okay. Yatra dana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyantyatmane mani chatmanam bhakya shruta grihitaya.
Okay, so somebody tell me, what does jnana mean?
Knowledge.
What does vairagya mean?
Detachment.
Renunciation.
No, yeah, detachment, renunciation. Did you pashanti what pashanti means? Did you pashanti what pashanti means? Did you pashanti what pashanti means? Pashanti means?
See?
See, yes. Atmani, within himself. Atmanam. So the Brahmavadis, the Jnanis, they see themselves. They see themselves as God. Everything is God. It's all God. The yogis, they see the Lord of the heart within their heart. And the devotees, they see the Lord with their heart, in their heart, and outside of their heart. Get it? Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam. And this is all because of Bhaktya, devotional service. Touch Shadadhana Munayo. Carmen, can you read it?
The first line?
The verse, one line at a time.
Oh. I need help with the second word.
Shadadhana.
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 Yeah.
So
Touch Shadadhana Munayo.
Touch Shadadhana Munayo.
Touch Shadadhana Munayo.
Touch Shadadhana Munayo.
Okay. And the next line?
Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya.
Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya.
Jnana.
Yukta is yoga, yukta, yoke, engaged.
yuktaya.
Yeah. Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Pasyanti atmani chatmanam.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Pasyanti atmani chatmanam.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Bhakta shuddha grihitaya.
Tatshadadhana munayo. Get shraddha. See, shraddha. Shraddha.
Shraddha.
Dhana.
Tanan. Okay, so Shraddhana Munayo.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Jnana wait, how do you say that again?
Vairagya.
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 Ragya.
Ragya.
Yuktaya.
Yuktaya.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Bhakta shuddha grihitaya.
Tatshadadhana munayo.
Tatshadadhana munayo.
Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Tatshadadhana munayo.
Tatshadadhana munayo.
Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Jnana vairagya yuktaya.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Pashanti atmani chatmanam.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Bhaktya shuddha grihitaya.
Nice. Dana K, you want to give it a read? Karuna, you ready for another one?
Oh, I thought I was unmuted. I'm sorry. I was saying it.
Dana K, go for it.
Tatshadadhana munayo. Jnana vairagya yuktaya. Pashyanti atmani chatmanam. Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya.
Grihitaya. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so the previous verse is describing, the different stages of realization. And then this verse is describing, how you get that. And he's saying, by bhakti, practice according to the guidance of sacred literature, and being well equipped with knowledge and attachment. He actually realizes the absolute truth. He realizes the Atmanam, the Paramatma, or the Lord, either within his heart or by his heart. And he sees, he actually experiences Pashanti, not faith-based, but it's experience-based. Tat Shradhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shuta Grihitaya. Pruna, can you give us another chant? I think we're
Sure. Yatra Dadana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pasyantyatma Chanmanam Asyasita Grihataya.
Grihitaya. Grihitaya. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you.
any last questions, reflections, or we'll stop here?
I love how you broke down like I think it was the summarization or the commentary. Yeah, of the purport. I love how you like broke it down sentence by sentence, but then you broke down even more within those sentences. So it was just like, wow.
Well, thank you, thank you. All right. Well, thank you. We'll keep on working on this. We're soon to come up to a whole important string of verses. And all these verses are quoted in I believe it's the first purport of the 7th chapter. It's like verse 16 on. These verses describe the 9 stages of devotional service, also further described as 14 stages of devotional service, all beginning with Shraddha. So we had a little bit of an introduction to Shraddha today. These are verses that are quite popular, so sometimes they're chanted together. So there's another section of well-known important verses that are going to be coming up. So Om Tat Sat, thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.